Hello, I'm Andrea, your Pilates instructor here at Grow. I'm going to take you through the foundation of Pilates, which is going to include the 5 basic principles. I would like you to check though with your healthcare practitioner that they're happy for you to start including Pilates into your rehab journey. When you start, you're probably going to include about an hour and a half's worth of the beginners classes. But as you get more into it and feel able to, you're going to be able to include about 4 hours of Pilates into your weekly schedule. Like I said, do check with your healthcare practitioner, but I know that they're going to really encourage you to include Pilates because it really has been proven to help with that rehab. You're going to build strength and be able to move a lot more freely. So I'm going to start with the 5 basic principles, as I said. The first of those is breathing. So there is a reason for the breathing within Pilates. We breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth and out through pursed lips. So it's a forced exhalation. So you inhale through the nose, down to the bottom of the lungs, expanding your rib cage to the front and to the sides. And as you exhale, imagine you're blowing out a candle or blowing through a straw. The reason for this is you take the oxygen down to the bottom of the lungs, which is the best area for gaseous exchange. As you do that forced exhalation, it helps you engage your deepest core muscle, which is your transverse abdominis muscle. It also gives you a little lift up on the pelvic floor. So again, inhaling through the nose, relaxing the shoulders, taking the oxygen down to the bottom of the lungs, and exhaling through those pursed lips. So this is our breathing. The reason for the breathing is also to do with some of the movements that we do within Pilates. You will find as you move through the beginners classes and into intermediate, when you get to that level, you'll do certain moves on an exhale. And then on an inhale, you'll do certain moves. And that just helps with the expansion of the lungs and the contraction of the lungs. It works well within those moves. So I'm going to take you on to the next basic principle, and this is your pelvic placement. For that, I'm going to lay down. Okay, so my spine, when we're born, it's a lovely S shape, and it's a really good shock absorber in the body. So we're going to look to try and bring you back to that lovely S shape. Okay. So we're going to have, with spine neutral, you have a little bit of a gap behind your lumbar spine. Okay, so you're going to inhale with your spine in neutral. And as you exhale, you're going to rock the pelvis back into the imprint. Okay, I want you to do this with me. So have a lie down. Try and get your spine in a nice neutral position so you can slide your fingers behind your lumbar spine. Take a breath in through the nose, and as you exhale, imprint your lumbar spine into the mat. So you're flattening your spine out here. Again, inhale into neutral, and exhale, imprint your lumbar spine. So this is the second basic principle of Pilates. Pelvic placement, rocking your pelvis through imprint and into neutral. So exhale, imprinting your lumbar spine. Inhale into neutral. Okay, I'm going to move on to the third basic principle. And this is our rib cage placement. So looking at your rib cage, it's connected to your pelvis via your abdominals. And we want to maintain that connection. So I'll show you something here. So when you take your arms over your head, sometimes if you want to get all the way back, you might flare open that rib cage. whereas actually you've lost that rib cage connection there. You've lost your engagement with the abdominals, and actually my spine has changed shape. So I'll show you again. You're taking the arms up. I'm changing the shape of my spine, and I've lost my rib cage connection. Well, what we want to do is hold on to that connection, okay? It keeps us in a much safer place. So you're inhaling, taking your arms up and over. So have a go at this. As you exhale, draw those arms down by your sides. Again, inhale, taking your arms up. Only take them as far back as you can without losing that connection. So I don't always take my arms all the way back. I might stop in this position just so that I can still feel that rib cage connection there. Okay, so it's an inhaling the arms up, and then to have a little exhale through those pursed lips to bring your arms back down to your sides. Okay, so moving on to the fourth basic principle. This is where your shoulders are nicely stabilized in a neutral position. Let's try this lying down here. So take your fingertips towards the ceiling and imagine your arms are in a tunnel. So as you inhale, reach your fingertips towards the ceiling. You're keeping your spine the same shape, but you're protracting your shoulder blades here. So they're actually moving around the side of my rib cage. As I exhale, I'm going to squeeze my shoulder blades together. Okay, that's my retraction, and I'm engaging those muscles that are between those shoulder blades. Okay, so your shoulder blades are almost like floating bones. They're only attached to one other bone, and that's the clavicle at the front, so your collarbone. That makes it very easy for those shoulder blades to move over time. So if we spend a lot of time protracting our shoulders, they're going to want to stay there. So what we need to do is train them to retract back so that we eventually get a nice neutral position with those shoulder blades. Let's have another little go. Inhale, reach your fingertips towards the ceiling. Exhale, retract the shoulder blades, just switching on those retractors. And what I want you to think about is halfway between those two positions is your neutral shoulder position. So we're trying to stabilize those shoulder blades so they stick to the back of the rib cage, the place where we want them to eventually learn to be. Okay, so that's your shoulders. One more basic principle, and that's the head nod positioning. It's a small movement, and if you have your head in a nice neutral position, so your eye gaze is up towards the ceiling, I'm going to just talk you through the head nod. Okay, so imagine you're looking up to a red traffic light, and then as it goes green, you drop your eye gaze down. So it's a small movement. I'm lengthening the back of the neck, and I'm drawing my chin down. But you still would want to be able to get a fist underneath your chin, and that would be meaning that you're not going to cram your chin down. Okay, so let's try that. Looking up towards the ceiling, draw the eye gaze down, lengthening the back of the neck. What this does is it puts your neck in a nice safe position, because our head is obviously very heavy. For when we flex forward, our neck is lengthened, and our head and our neck muscles are engaged to be in a nice safe place to do some forward flexion. So that's your head nod, lengthening the back of the neck before you lift your head forward. So that's one of the things I want you to think about, is you lengthen the back of the neck before lifting the head when you flex forward. So, just to summarize what we've gone through, we've run through those 5 basic principles of Pilates. The first one is the breathing. Inhaling through the nose, expanding the rib cage, exhaling through those pursed lips, relaxing the shoulders, taking the oxygen down to the bottom of the lungs, expanding that rib cage, engaging your transverse abdominis, your deepest core muscle. We've talked about the pelvic placement, learning where imprint is and how to release that back to a nice neutral spine, so you've got that nice S shape in your spine. We've talked about your rib cage placement, making sure that your ribs stay connected to the pelvis via your abdominals throughout all of the exercises. And then there were the shoulder positioning, trying to stabilize those shoulder blades, not too protracted and not a hard retraction, but halfway between the two with your nice neutral shoulder position. And with the last one we ran through was that head positioning. So nodding the head, lengthening the back of the neck and just drawing the chin down so that you're in a safe position to lift the head forward when you flex forward. Remembering these foundations, remembering these basic principles is going to take you well safely into those beginners classes. But everything is going to be there for you in those beginners classes. And as you move through them, you're going to remember those foundations and be able to take those into the intermediate classes, which is going to help you build on everything you've learned. I hope you've enjoyed learning about the basic principles of Pilates. I look forward to seeing you in those classes soon.